Yeah.
Just checking about that magazine photo I dropped off with you.
Yeah, right. We got a set of clear prints, but they're not in the computer.
So whoever it is doesn't have a criminal record. Well, I guess that's good news. Listen, thanks for the rush, okay?
I'll be in touch.
Mr. Jax? I suppose this was inevitable. If I had a bag, I'd ask you to carry it, or if I smoked, I'd ask for a light.
And you'd be out of luck. What is so inevitable, if I may ask?
That we'd meet before we'd had the chance to meet.
Oh, so you think this is fate, then?
You think I'm being foolish? I can promise you that there was a time when I could have secured your attention without a word.
Oh, you would have had it. Whether you'd spoken to me or not.
Oh. So there are still men who in an emergency know how to turn a compliment. It's not hard to see how a girl could fall in love. Not me, I mean my daughter.
Come again?
Veronica Wilding Barrett. Brenda's mother.
Veronica?
That's right. You trying to decide if I look like the pictures Brenda has of me? Or did Harlan leave her any?
I'm wondering how many other people in Port Charles you've told the story to.
No one, yet. You're not the trusting type, I see.
Depends on what you want from us.
You have a theory, I can tell.
Well, various forms of extortion come to mind.
I see. So you think that I'm lying. You think that I'm desperate and grasping, and that being Brenda's mother would suddenly seem like the road to riches. Well, you certainly do have logic on your side. After all, anyone calling herself Mrs. Harlan Barrett has lied for money at least once. Well, I suppose I'll have to be convincing. I haven't been called on to authenticate myself in 25 years. Oh. You do know, I assume, that I'm supposed to be long dead.
Oh, yes, a skiing accident last year in St. Moritz.
Last year? Oh, you're testing me. Very sly. Well, the official version, of course, is that I met my mysterious end on the French Riviera when Brenda was 4. Do I win a prize?
A seat. And 20 minutes of my time.
I'll make no sense to you at all unless I begin by declaring that, immodest as it may seem, in my day I was what's known as a famous beauty. And by which I mean I had not another earthly thing to be famous for. I wasn't brilliant, well-born, good-natured, or beloved. My only gift, and I had it from a very early age, was that no one minded having their picture taken with me. Now, is there a place in the dazzling world of the rich and accomplished for someone who's photogenic and nothing else? Oui, c'est vrai. Now, it would not be unfair to say that I was a groupie in the 60s, as long as you understand that I was not one of those alley cats hanging around the stage doors with no higher ambition than an autograph or a one-night stand. I was an embellishment, a certification of a sort of style. There were people like, Jimi Hendrix or the Stones used to send their private planes for me. I was always packed. I was a guest at Ringo and Maureen's wedding. I used to spend my summers in places like Barcelona, rocking and sleeping and filing my nails through the recording sessions of the really seminal albums. It was the proverbial charmed life. And then there was Harlan.
I suppose Harlan was a good friend of Jimi Hendrix, too.
No. There was nothing to befriend in Harlan. He was about nothing but money. And there were so many others like him. These financiers that thought they were going to cash in on what they called the generation gap. But Harlan made one of his rare miscalculations, and instead I cashed in on him. Now, I wasn't underhanded about it. One of my conditions was that I would receive a financial settlement that would make me independently wealthy no matter how the marriage ended. Another was that I would continue to enjoy a certain freedom. Freedom was harder for him to give than cash was. He used to show up, making these scenes and dragging me home. Then he would lecture me under the disapproving glare of darling Julia. the oldest 5-year-old that ever lived. Harlan really seemed to believe that that little harpy could kickstart my maternal instincts. She was so sure I was hiding. But, alas, even becoming pregnant with Brenda didn't do anything to really improve myself in Harlan's eyes. I was sick with her the whole 9 months. Does any of this sound familiar or convincing?
Well, you haven't told me anything that couldn't be researched or fabricated.
Then give me a quiz. Let's make a game show out of it. And there must be something that Brenda's told you that I can verify. Some leftover Veronica lore. My bathtub. Everyone was either fascinated or appalled by it. It had a claw foot, jade with garnet toenails. Brenda must have told you about the rainmaking saga. I certainly never heard the end of it.
She was 4. She doesn't remember you. Anything she heard after the fact, you could have heard too.
I wish I could say that you've been charming company, but you're not much more than photogenic yourself, are you? It doesn't really matter whether you believe me or not. My daughter will.
Even if you're telling the truth, not that I'm by any means convinced, what do you want with Brenda now?
To see her. To know her a little. I know what you're thinking. That's an opportunity I could have availed myself of long ago. Well, yes and no. I was so young. I was so self-absorbed. Imagine that. And my life changed so drastically after I left Harlan. Like so many people who are or were beautiful, I thought that the friendships that I so easily made were real, that they were what would sustain me for life. Can you tell I was in for a rude awakening? It wasn't until recently that I've come to understand that the one real primal connection I have to another human being is to someone that I don't even know. I want to change that while I'm still reasonably young.
Well, perhaps you're sincere. What you say is intelligible. I can accept that a woman who might be my fiancé's mother would come here for those reasons. But let me be blunt. What's in it for Brenda? She's happy with her life right now. Maybe for the first time. She's made peace with what she has and what she's lacking. It's a kind of contentment that doesn't come easy. And it didn't.
You're protective. That's good.
Yes. I'm not going to let anyone waltz in and waltz out for the cheap thrill of saying, "My darling daughter, here I am." What you could have given Brenda, you didn't. She thinks death prevented you. Now, how helpful do you think it's going to be to tell her that it was selfishness instead? If you are Veronica.
Well, we seem to have reached an impasse. I'm determined to see my daughter, and you're determined to stop me. How far are you willing to go? Will you have me arrested? Discredited? Harlan's tricks, I know them well. You and he are as alike as 2 sterling candlesticks. Poor Brenda.
If you're who you say you are, I'm not going to stand in your way. I'll lead you to Brenda myself. I'll welcome you with open arms, if it's what Brenda wants. And if you're Veronica Barrett. Fair?
I know a trap being sprung when I hear it.
And since you said you don't want to upset or hurt Brenda, you want your re-entry into her life to go smoothly as possible, you won't mind hanging around for a few days until I can have a background check done on you.
No deal. I will not submit myself to being investigated. It's humiliating and degrading.
It's going to be done whether you like it or not. Now, either I can be your biggest ally or your worst enemy. You can pit yourself against me, or you can wait until I can wholeheartedly introduce you to Brenda myself, sparing you the embarrassment of hearing the same doubts and questions from her. It's your choice.
my address in France. You can start there and work your way back.
My people are quick and thorough. Where will you be staying in the meantime?
I've taken a room here.
Well, I would be delighted if you would stay in it as much as possible. I'll be in touch.
You really do adore her. Does she know how rare that is?
Hi.
Hey.
Sorry to interrupt. Honey, I had the most amazing evening. Wait till I tell you about it. Who's this?
I'm Veronique. I used to run an advertising agency in France, Lyon to be exact. And we specialized in cosmetics, so of course I know your face. And of course I'm going to tell you that you're even lovelier close up.
Oh, well, aren't you nice? Thank you.
Well, not really, not at all. And I'm not a friend. Actually, Mr. Jax was kind enough to humor me while I was giving him my congratulations. I've read that you're about to be married, and I hope that you'll both be very happy.
Yes, well, we are very happy. So, are you in Port Charles long?
I hope so, but I can't say. Well, it's been very nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you both.
You will never believe what happened to me today. I signed my first client on LFA.
That's great.
Did I just hit your face? I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay.
Isn't that cool?